Okay, what I'd like to go over now is how to change a thread in Peyote. First thing you want to do is stop when you have enough still to weave this thread away, and you want to stop somewhere in the middle of a row, not on the end. By bringing in a new thread, the plan would be to bring in a new thread somewhere here and weave it up so that you're coming out the same spot, going in the same direction, and it's actually this bead right there. Okay, that's where we want to exit, and then we'll be taking this thread away, doing the same sort of moves going this side. That way we're not, you know, this one's over here and the new one's over there. So the first thing you do want to do is know the ways you can travel in Peyote so that your thread doesn't show. And one way is by going on an angle. And if you remember how we counted the rows of Peyote, that's the kind of angle we go on. So you have here 1, 2, 3 beads. Now of course you can do any number you want, 3, 2, 5. But we'll go through a few. And you leave about a 2-inch tail just so you can cut it off. So that I pulled through. Now to get up here, we're going to continue either by going on angles or doing what I would call a locking stitch. So for example, right now we're coming out of that bead. Do you see it? We go either down towards me in either bead sitting right next to it. So it would be this bead or this one in the opposite direction. So a bead that's in the same row right next to it in the opposite direction, and I call that a U-turn. We do the U-turn, the thread won't show. If you do 2 U-turns, like from the same box, I mean it turns into a box. Nope, it's got to go here. So I'm coming back into the same one I was exiting. And that's the little box. Now you notice this thread is not going to move at all when I pull on it. So the boxes really help to keep it secure. So I would do a couple boxes, couple angles. Even if you change direction on an angle, it's good. I'm going through way too many. Hold on. Wait. Okay, so there I'm going through 2. Let's say I turn again, go into the bead directly above or below in the opposite direction, and I can actually go down a couple beads there, and now I'm going to make my way over to the same spot where our red thread is. So I'll go up here, go here, here, try to get an idea of where I'm at. It's very important again to remember what bead you are coming out of. And I'm going to go in the same one I was originally exiting. And then I would finish the row with this thread. And this one I would take out the same way that we brought the new one in. Make a U-turn. Go down some beads on an angle, make a U-turn or a box, but make sure I'm in the same row. Now usually peyote is pretty tight weave, so this is sufficient. If you are doing it with the 11-O's like seed beads, it's possible that you might want to tie a few knots. And there we are, ready to go. Continue with this thread. Thank you very much. And next we'll go on to the adding the clasp and the edging. Next we will talk about putting on the clasp. And this stitch, or this part, as well as the other parts, it really is helpful if you use it in conjunction with your written pattern that I sent, because it does help clarify things. Another thing I wanted to mention real quick was occasionally you'll find a real rogue bead, and it's going to either be way too big or small to use. Just ditch it. And the third thing is, at the end of this video I did put some bloopers of, as I was doing this project, I kept making mistakes. So if you want to see what some mistakes look like, feel free to watch. Alright, so on this now, when we're talking about the clasp, the instructions are saying you'll find, if you count 6 rows in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, I guess they're columns, but 6 columns in, and the 1, 2, 3, 4th bead down, you want to be exiting, going one direction or the other. Then we will be picking up 24 cylinder beads, and we will enter the 6th bead, this column from the 6th column over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one's going to be 3 beads down, because we did this odd even count, so there really is no center line, so they are, well, but that's a different video. Okay, so we do this, and that's going to be the loop. I wanted it to lay a little flatter though, so after you reinforce that, oops, after you reinforce it by, moving over and then going through everything again and going back in the bead, the way we'll do the other part will be coming directly below the brown bead. So I'm going to come directly below in the opposite direction, and I will pick up 3 15-0 beads. And stitch through these 24 cylinders. Now, of course, your beads are not going to be marked out like that, so you just need to figure out how to count your columns and count your beads. Okay, so I'm going through all these. Quite a few that time. And we'll come out the first one. Oops. And on this side, because we're down a little more, I only need to pick up two 15-0s. But as this one was coming in and out, I want this one also to go in the one bead right below the brown. So that just helps this to lay flat, so that, and I'll show you here. This kind of decorates it a little bit too. Okay. And when you go to put on the button, oops, technical difficulty. You'll be doing more or less the same thing, where you'll be exiting a bead in the same, like we did with the clasp, and you'll pick up so many small beads, go through the button, and go into the same one. So you'll be using the same 2 beads as we did here, marked with the, okay. To do the edging, you'll be, and I'm just going to skip over there now. To do the edging, you would be coming out an edge bead, and you'll pick up 3 15-ohs, go down the very next one on the edge, and up. Again, up is usually away from the work in my definitions. Pick up 3 15-ohs again. And this is just one type of edging, but I liked it. Go into the next, so you can see where I'm coming out. We're just going to go each and every one of these along the whole side. Oops. Far away. Okay, so you would do that along the whole edge, okay? And again, that's how that will look. Little edging, clasp, and loop. Alright, so I hope to see you in the next video, or the next step in your learning peyote journey. The next class a good one would be Midnight Garden, which is doing peyote stitch. There's a 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, but it's instead of just using 1 bead, we're using 2 or 3 beads, but we've also have 2 different sizes of beads that we're working on. So check it out, and again, thank you so much for beading with me. If you have any questions or problems, feel free to email me or give me a call. Thank you so much. And there's 2 ways you can travel in peyote stitch. One would be on an angle, like this. Oh, I didn't want that many. Coming through 3 beads. That's on an angle. And when I say you can travel 2 ways in peyote, meaning, oops, oh, that's interesting. I picked up the wrong needle. Oops. Well, here's something interesting. You can see how that doesn't sit down nice. It's because I really didn't skip a bead. So I don't know if you can see, but I'm coming out a bead, going in the very next one. So I'm going to pick up a bead, skip a bead, go through the next one. Okay, so here we see there's a little problem. And upon closer inspection, I actually split the thread, which is one of the reasons you want to keep your thread out of the way when you're working. Always take the needle off, pull it out, then rethread the needle.